Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Be the Media Huntington. Tonight is May 1st, 2019, and my name is Jenny Lee. And tonight I have with me Miss Dana.
Hello, guys.
And Miss Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
May 1st, 2019. But we know why it's happening.
And tonight I have with me Miss Dana.
Because I'm on the waiting page, too. See, at least I figured out why it does it. It only took 2 years. So, glad that's out of the way. Kids just got back to school. Thank you. Everybody was on Easter break. So I think we're finally plugged back in. We were all unplugged a while. So I think we came back to the show and we're like, we just don't care what's going on. There's so much going on nationally. But we still do have things going on in Huntington that do need to be covered and touched upon. So a little update on the LIPA. They've done with their court for now. They're reconvening in July, so there's not going to be much to cover in regards to LIPA until then. However, the concerned taxpayers against LIPA have managed to get through some legislation. And it looks like, let me see if I can take you guys there real quick. It looks like it's going to be, here we go. Yes. Oh, look, it hit today, May 1st. So they got this in here, and it's making its way through the committees. And it's Senate Bill S5122A in the New York State Senate, sponsored by Gorin. And it's to help, I don't know if you guys have read this or not, it relates to the liability of a municipality or governmental subdivision for a refund of property taxes to the Long Island Power Authority. Basically saying that, we're not going to be financially ruined when this comes back. So I thought that that was really great of them that they've handled this so well, that the group has already got legislation going to the state to get ahead of even when it is going through court to protect the taxpayers of Huntington.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really good work.
So great job. But don't keep up the momentum. Definitely keep up the momentum. In other news, the streets suck. There is still the passing of the buck. I'm ready to start filling potholes myself. The roads are horrendous.
Yeah, they are. Really are.
Did anyone say why we have such bad potholes?
Well, they shirk the responsibility there. They get caught up in this whole, it's not a town road, it's not a county road, it's not a state road. In reality, we need to stop doing this. We need to just fix the roads as a town and build the appropriate municipality, build the county, build the state if it's their road. If we have to pave it, just bill it to them and have them, because enough of this pass the buck stuff. Our cars are getting ruined. We're paying for it in repairs.
And don't forget the other excuses you hear. We don't have the manpower.
Yeah.
I'm getting so tired of hearing, we don't have the manpower to do this. We don't have the manpower to do that. It all comes down to we don't have the manpower. Well, what are those men doing? Seriously. I don't want to disrespect anybody. I know they do. But what do the guys at the town do on a daily basis?
Well, you have that stump issue,
yes.
Right? You have a stump that you've called about to be fixed, and you've been diligently calling.
It's been 3 years and 2 months since my last phone call.
And they're telling you that they are still facing a backlog of stump removal from the previous administration.
700.
What is that?
So I'm sorry, but every month, how can it still be 700? You got to get, maybe, next time I call, maybe you could tell me it's 660. Try to break it down. How many a week do you do? How many a day do you do? Come on, aren't you doing it at all?
Not if the numbers are still staying the same.
I know. And then the other thing is, I'm sorry, how long has the current administration been in place? Why are you still blaming the last one?
They've been in place.
This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with you just doing your job.
Wow.
Why are you blaming politics? Enough's enough.
Well, is that highways? Is that the superintendent of highways or?
Yeah, highway department.
Because some of our roads are really, really, really bad.
They really, really are.
So
And if you get a flat tire, who can you get reimbursed from?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't even know if you're allowed to. I think it's on you.
If I dent my rim on my car, I'm gonna try to find some reimbursement.
well,
sorry.
then you have to tell them where it is, where you got it, and prove it, right? And then that's where, again, the shirking of the responsibility happens with, oh, well, that's a county road. You'll have to call the county.
Yeah, you'll have to play that game too. I mean, you'll have to stay there. You'll have to call the police, wait for the police, obviously make a report just because.
And after all that aggravation, you're going to be like, I'm just paying for my tire. You give up.
Yeah.
You give up.
Or you pay the bill and you just send them the receipt and you just keep fighting it till you get it back eventually.
Yeah, but how much is your time worth too?
I mean, it's just, to me, it's just the principle of things. You know what I mean? You talking about increasing taxes. You are increasing taxes. Let's not talk about it. You're doing all this other building and everything. You can't even keep up the roads that you have. Yeah, I'll take the time out. It may not be every day, but I will definitely ride you back so you give me back my reimbursement somehow.
But aren't they also handing out jobs? I mean, I don't
Left
want to
and
be
right.
rude, but they are handing out jobs left and right. Can we hire somebody who knows how to fill a pothole or knows how to?
Well, they do. The guys at the highway department, they do a good job. I mean, but it's
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I know you
so
work.
no funding. What's holding it up? Because this is we're in May. We had a very mild winter. You can't say we had a kind of winter where the roads were so destroyed, or we can't lay down any of the asphalt now because it's too cold.
Yep.
Because they used to say that a lot about the salt. So I mean, you kind of had to give a take, because we do want our roads to be clear when it snows, so they have to put the salt down. But we had a very mild winter, like you said. So what's the excuse now? Not sure. And Melville, not even what is that? Pigeon Hill Road. If you get up to Pigeon Hill Road after the library,
Oh my God.
it's horrible over there.
Coming out of just town, right in town. The one road that's right there at the very heart of when you enter town, if you're headed south, okay, went over by One Stop. Okay, now you're headed south and you're going to go down by where Kmart used to be. You're headed that way, right? That whole road is every time right before the cemetery. And that's the main road.
Yeah.
It's just
really
a mess.
And there's a lot of traffic over there. Now that I know what you're talking about, there's a lot of traffic over there.
Yeah,
A
constantly.
lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic, a lot of construction, a lot of things going on. I see that they've made a lot of progress over at the Home Depot area on the new shops that used to be the Outback. Made a
Mhm.
lot
That
of
level,
progress
level up there. Yeah.
So another interesting thing that I saw, did you guys see the letter that Chad Lupinacci wrote about Newsday?
Novel? The novel, you mean?
Yeah, it was long.
That was a long ass letter.
It was long. But he was rebuting he was saying that the LIPA reporting is biased, inaccurate, and insulting to residents. And it's interesting because before he put that out, I saw them on the Concerned Taxpayers of What talking about how, look at this like 4-page ad that LIPA's putting out here with the Q&A about why us suing you for all this money is good for you. Why it's gonna be okay.
Not even possible. I don't know.
Well, if you haven't seen it, I just want to highlight 2 things real quick. And these are the local things we got. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's on the town website. It came out yesterday. Lupinacci to Newsday editorial board. Your LIPA reporting is biased, inaccurate, and insulting to residents. And then I wanted to highlight this. This came out last week. The Suffolk police test attracts fewer applicants, but more minorities apply. Did you happen to read these articles?
I know
I
about the Suffolk County and the police. Yes.
Okay. It was interesting because I don't know if we're having less people sign up to want to be police officers, but more minorities. And what's interesting is we're also seeing a lot more people just leaving. They're just fleeing New York. We started doing a national show. It's called Coast to Coast. I've been putting on my wall, but we did a segment on the U.S. Census and how and why this whole thing works. It was very compelling. You should go back and see how the US Census is directly related to how each state gets electoral votes. And we also covered the history of how certain states are picking up more electoral votes, such as California received 5 more with the last census report, and how electoral votes are being taken from other states. Lisa, what state was it that's down to 1 electoral vote? It was Montana? I think it was. It was one of those, but it was a really, really good one if you're looking to see, how that all works. But New York is one of the states who had our attorney general that was at the hearing of them deciding on the US Census question. And they are because they're concerned because we already lost 2 electoral votes in the last census from people moving out. And now we're in jeopardy of losing more because of the population decrease in New York. It's interesting how it all ties together.
is.
To live in New York is very expensive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is.
And you're not getting as much bang for your buck. Maybe in New York City, but not in New York State. They keep saying we're turning this into a little Queens or a little wherever. We don't have the infrastructure to even turn it into. We don't have half of the things that Queens has to offer to have all those people in there. So we don't have mass transit the way that they do. We don't have, different areas that we don't have half of the things they have, basically.
Right.
So,
and we don't get our water the same way. I mean, people fail to realize you can't put the density in the same way because the infrastructure does not call for it, but more specifically, the water. It really is that simple.
And the water does taste really weird. When you
go
somewhere else that the water is
bottled water,
bottled or purified, even when you brush your teeth, you feel the difference. You're just like,
oh, I've been saying it for such a long time, and I've said it at Meet the Candidate nights, and they just smirk and they nod their head, and I get, I'm told to
and
go
they
buy
approve more
a
and more housing, more and more.
Buy a filter. Yep. Oh, well, I have a filter.
Like the Heartland, we still haven't put that one together because there's a final piece that she said she wanted to get to me on that, but that is just it right in the middle. That I don't think people realize the Heartland project, how it's plopping a mini city in the middle of the LA.
And I don't think people really understand the dynamics of having that that entire situation. And why am I bringing that up? This morning, when I was going, generally I either take Comac Road to go to work, depending on where I'm working at, or Deer Park Avenue. Today, I was taking Comac Road, and it was a tractor trailer that either was turned over or was hit, and it shut down the road both ways because they had to clear it up in the heart of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back because I wanted to see what damage was done, I came back and I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, how are they going to make all these adjustments? Because right now, there's a good portion, especially with the Heartland where they're trying to build, it's one road in and one road out.
Yep.
And you still, and if you go during like peak hours, lunchtime, or rush hour, people coming out of Pilgrim State have a problem leaving. And that's just a few people that have worked there. You talking about building how many apartments?
Thousands.
I don't know how that's going to work. I really don't know how that's going to work. And where they're going to get the road for 1,000 people?
Sorry.
I don't know.
She's gnawing her bone right over here. While I'm
Is that
trying.
what that noise was?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
You just had to
I
kick
could
her out.
hear-
Throw her bone over there. I'm like, really? Sit right next to me and gnaw that thing.
I didn't know that. What was that? I knew I heard something, but I thought it was like the computer or something. I didn't
No,
know.
I apologize. My dog.
I don't know. That's how Heartland is. I hope people wake up sooner than later.
Nah, it's too late.
I hope, because y'all in for a real surprise.
It's too late. They're checked out. They're checked out. Let's just slide right into it. We started this evening saying nobody cares about what's going on locally. I hear myself echoing. Because nationally, we're just so crazy right now. There's so much going on. There's so much like intensity, and everyone is feeding off of that intensity. Dina, have you been watching any news?
I do get a glimpse of news. I try to, I'm not as in tune as I was maybe a few weeks ago, but I do try to here and there get a glimpse on a few different things. So I try to be versed, and I do still read when I have,
See
a
the
moment or two.
basics that are going on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like we're focusing on the wrong things. We're still talking about a Mueller report. Why? The Democrats have now added their millionth possible person to their list, but I like that person, so it's okay.
Oh, you like Biden?
I love Biden. I love him. I don't
Okay.
like him. I love him.
Okie dokie.
His touching and all. So I keep an eye on certain things. When I get a chance. Just that, of course, the school shooting, because I have kids in college, things like that. So whenever I get a moment, I'll dabble in and out of the news and try to read whatever I can.
Yeah.
But nationally,
You're right, though. There's 20 candidates right now that are running. And you've got like Gillibrand, who's out there begging for money because you have to have a certain amount of donors under a certain amount, as well as a certain percentage of states where you're polling at more than a certain percent to be able to qualify for their debate stage. So they're starting to already narrow their field.
Yeah.
With that. So she introduced a bill to give everyone a $600 donor fee. I'm echoing on one of y'all's ends.
Yeah, I hear a little something.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm
I
echoing.
hear a little, but I can't make out what it says. It's just like a static.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything.
Okay. See if that fixes it. Sorry about that. So that's starting to narrow the field, but they start, I think, in July with their debates, which is going to be interesting, I think, to watch that total shit show.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have people like Senator Warren, who's going to be wanting to take out Joe Biden. And you're going to have Joe Biden having to explain to Bernie why he's a little bit too left of the progressive left field where, when it comes to his democratic socialism. So they're going to be fighting each other on their own ground. And in the end, I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think that there's any one of them that can beat Trump right now.
Well, I think that, Biden is seasoned enough that he shouldn't be arguing with anyone. They can say whatever they want to say. He should just stay focused on what his agenda is and how he plans on playing it out. Why I like Biden, of course. And do I think Biden can beat Trump? Yeah. I mean, he's the best candidate. I don't care what people say. Yeah, we go out, we vote, right? But at the bottom line, the Electoral College is who makes the decision. So even if Joe wins the popular vote, he still has to be able to win the electoral college. Biden is probably the only one. He's white enough. He's, of a decent age. He's not very young, but he's okay. He's wealthy enough. He can maneuver, and he's still acceptable in the all white male boys club.
So what do you think about that? The top 3 that are polling right now are white males.
I really don't have much to. I'm not surprised. One, my take on that is they're looking at it like, we've given you 8 years of a black president. Settle down. That's it. Maybe we'll do it in another 30 years, but you had your turn. That's how I look at it.
But the Democrats claim to be the party of diversity.
They are absolutely not the party of diversity. They are the party of masters of illusion, of inclusion.
Master manipulators of victims.
Because they will give you the illusion that they include everyone, but behind closed doors, it's different. I've always stated, people always question, how could you be part of a particular, party and you're a black female at that? And, I say Republicans, they do their dirt up in front. This is what it is. Like it or not, I'm doing it. Democrats do their stuff in the back and then try to cover it up. So it's like you take a poop and then you try to put flowers all around. I still smell the poop. So you're not really doing a good job. That's how I view Democrats. I rather know what I'm facing and know what I'm doing and know who I'm dealing with and then I think that you're on my side and it turns out you're a complete snake in the grass. Complete. Yeah. So, honestly, I don't think the Republican Party or the Democratic Party is for anyone except for who they intend to be for.
Amen.
If I have to pick,
that's a vote for the Trump Party.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. But we realistically go through things. I mean, they're not really there for anyone. So, but what I do find interesting is that when the Republicans were doing this, when Trump was running in 2016, and they had all these contenders, the Democratic Party made such a stink about how many people are going, and I agreed.
I agreed too. They had 17. We know that they had 17.
It's like, okay, and the Republican Party was always known for being a little bit more conservative, so it was really a shock to see all these people come out. And the Democrats talked about it. 4 years later, you're doing the same thing.
Yep.
So why was it okay? Why is it okay for you, but not okay for them?
And I love the thing where they're making them promise that if you get the nomination, you will choose a woman as a vice presidential candidate.
I don't think that should happen.
Assuming a woman could win, there shouldn't be any deals being made. What is this? Just automatic assumption, right?
I didn't hear
Why?
that.
So John McCain lost. I mean, that's another thing. Like the Democrats, they don't think John McCain lost because he picked Sarah Palin. She was a woman. She was not qualified to be a vice president.
She was fun to watch.
That was it. He lost because of Sarah Palin. Now, why on earth would you suggest to make a Democrat? I mean, why would you have to make your vice president a woman?
I will say, though, looking back, he didn't lose. The media decided that was not what they wanted. And so they micro-focused on her fun gaffes. I could see Russia from my backyard, and they painted her in certain ways that made her distasteful. Intentionally, they formed public opinion in that manner and made people believe she was wholly unqualified, and that is what made her lose. But looking back now at how we see the media more clearly now and how they function, they pulled that off. They control public opinion.
Well, I will say that she was painted, but painted poorly. But I think she lived up to what her true beliefs were. She wasn't the brightest apple in the bunch, and I need you to be a little bit more solid to be a vice president.
But they didn't want her, so they made you believe that about her. When it came to Hillary, first woman president, they shoved her down your throat because the media is making the decision and calling the shots as to who they want on that ticket. They're very, very powerful with what they're able to do and how they're able to manipulate public opinion. We've come very far with seeing it now from when we were then. I don't think we recognized it back then for what it was. Like, they fawned over Barack Obama after he was elected. He was on all the shows. You know, same thing with Bill Clinton. Look at him play saxophone.
I never cared for any of the Clintons. I never understood what the big hoopla was with any of them. And Obama, I think he made his. I think he was put on a lot of places, not just because of what the media wanted to portray, but let's face it, this was a country here that used to enslave people like him, and now he's the ruler. You know, he's the commander in chief. So I think that played a little bit of a different, aspects. But what I will say is that media definitely, but we knew that because the media is controlled by 1% of the population.
I think we're learning it more now. I think that we always had an idea that there was something there that they were, programming. But it's become blatantly obvious at this point. It's just.
But here's my rebuttal to that. Not much of a rebuttal, but reaction. Is it that we are able to see it now because we have more access to social media?
Yes.
And you can't really control social media because we put whatever we want on there. And it's up there, and in 2 seconds, 5,000 people can see what happened before you can retract it and take it down.
Yes.
So to me, it's like, I don't know if it's so much as if we're just now looking or if we're just now taking the time out ourselves and saying, hey, how come the Fox or CNN is reporting it this way, but when it got out of the real person's hand who was there, it looked that way?
Today the big thing was, again, with the Mueller report, and not the Mueller report anymore, but now the Mueller letter that was leaked last night. They leaked it, this March 28th letter that basically said to Barr about how, the summary, we have to get all this other stuff out because the way it's being negatively taken. And they have been going back and forth all day pretty much over this issue that Barr misrepresented the report and in Barr's own testimony, he says, no, I got this letter from Mueller. And so I call him and I put him on speakerphone because I even said he was in the office. He goes, Rosenstein's in the office, a couple of our staff, he's on speaker. And I said, Bob, why did you send me a letter? Why didn't you just pick up the phone and call me? And he said, well, I wanted to put it in writing because the way that the media was misrepresenting what the report is. And he puts this in black and white. And now they're just reporting it. They're spinning it a different way now. I know Lisa did. Most people I knew were watching that whole hearing today. So when you're seeing it with your own eyes, and then you turn on the news and the news is saying, no, that's not what you saw. You start to really question what the incentive is there.
So my question to people who are just on both sides, because I think Trump supporters, you guys are doing way too much. And, the people against Trump are doing way too much. Because my question to both parties, okay, you find out something's wrong. And what? I mean, what are you going to do?
And what? Nobody's doing anything either.
And then, let's say you go back to the Mueller report and everything comes out different. What are you going to do? Okay, great. That's where, to me, lets me know that the Democratic Party is still, still in la-la land.
Because you've got Adam Schiff, who blatantly lied, right? You've got him on, and if you go and look on his Twitter, he's now, the people that were like, go get Trump, come on, Shifty, you got him, get him, are now like, when are you going to do something about this? You've done nothing. You just come here every day and tell us what a corrupt person he is and how he's done this and how is this, and yet you do nothing. And you go over to like Mark Meadows and you see the same thing. Why aren't you guys doing anything? Why are you allowing them to run around and just sell their books? So I think that that's the intensity you're starting to feel with everyone in the country right now, is that nobody's doing anything about anything. They're all just bitching about what each other's doing and having endless hearings that go nowhere and yield no results for no one. We spent $35 million on the Mueller report. Did you read $35 million worth of that report? Are you satisfied?
I'm not reading any of it. And let me tell you why. Here's my thought process, okay? I don't like Trump's politics. I don't know the man, so I'm not going to say I don't like him. I don't like his politics. The man has been in office for how long? How much time does he have left? Let's just say magically the little fairy godmother comes and sprinkles some dust, because it would have to be magical, right? Or let me not say that because I am a Catholic. God comes down and opens everything for our eyes and we see it. What are we going to do? Okay,
Nothing.
let's focus on
The end
what
result
will
is the same.
happen.
Let's fix the immigration problem.
Let's do more. We have other things to worry about. I'm tired of the Mueller report. I don't really care about it at this point in time, because my thought process is he's been in office for at least 3 years. If you haven't found anything in 3 years to actively bring him up on charges, you're not going to magically find it in his last. And even if you did, you don't have enough time to bring him up on charges.
But that shit isn't fixing my potholes.
There
Right.
you go.
That
Or
shit
the
doesn't
or
fix
the
my
gang
potholes.
problem we
So
have.
why do it's like watching a soap opera every single day that gives you anxiety that does nothing to improve your life.
Nothing at all. Okay, if the Mueller report was distorted, which I mean, it had to go through the attorney general, so you know they were going to take certain things out. You know that.
Well,
But if
some
it was
things have to be redacted by law.
but even if it wasn't, what are you going? Okay, it doesn't say that Trump. It doesn't say in black and white he did X, Y, and Z.
But I also want you to understand there is an unredacted Mueller report that's in a SHIF, okay, that Mueller put out, that Barr put out the notification. Any congressman can come in here, but you have to view it in here. You can't take any part of it out, and you can read it in this room. And only 2 senators have chosen to go in there and view the unredacted report. And at the meantime, you've got Nadler out there screaming that he's going to subpoena Barr if he doesn't provide an unredacted report that's already sitting in a SHIF, waiting for him to go in and view it. It's stupid.
That's why I
Was
say
that one moron today that wanted his notes?
Oh, that was awesome.
it's on both sides,
Sure.
the Trump supporters and his non-supporters. It's too much. It's too much. We have other things to focus on.
Right.
And
Potholes, the water, like these things that you have to get up every day and shower, brush your teeth, use your water. Guess what? You use water all the time. This impacts you. Your electric goes off. You don't get to watch a hearing. Doesn't make a difference in your life. Then
Right.
you have to get in your car, back out of your driveway, and bump your way down that bumpy road to try to get to work, to make money, to pay for the repairs to your car, to get to work, because this is what we need to fix. And then you get to pay taxes from that money to provide college for a poor immigrant who's coming here, escaping their country. It's
don't even talk to me about college. And because I just received, both of my children are juniors, both are in a 4-year university. I just received the tuition bill for next year, and the one that's in New York State, our financial aid is being cut.
That's
and
insane.
I not only am I a natural born citizen here, but I pay into the economy. I pay my taxes. You know, I do what I'm supposed to do. Why am I getting shifted?
You play by the rules.
And you want me to support that? You want to put somebody else? My kid was born here.
But
Right.
Cuomo
That's
said it's
her
free.
Right. And healthcare too, Dana.
I heard
I
Cuomo said it's free. Didn't he?
no. In what world? Because not in our world. Because I got that bill right there.
Not
So
mine.
where is it free? And then another thing, I just saw that this morning, Wine Dance is asking for a 40% tax increase. 40% to help their failing school district.
Well, gee, I wonder why it's failing. Do you think it had anything to do with Wine Dance Rising inviting all this huge mega city that of high density housing, pack 'em and stack 'em development that increased the density by so much? But not only did it increase the density, but you want to know what they did? They went and gave them a 30-year tax abatement on the property. So we put more students in your school, but did not give you any more tax revenue to help provide and sustain the cost of increasing the educational needs of that district. So now the taxpayers got to pick up the bill, the actual taxpaying citizens. This isn't even going to fall on the property of Wine Dance Rising because they're under a 30-year abatement.
So to me, I'm a parent. I have 3 children currently in the Union Free School District.
And 2 in college.
And 2 in college. I would not vote for a 40% increase. I'm sorry. I just would not vote for it. But the opposite of the increase is that they'll cut band. What? They'll cut transportation. I'm like, so it's like you got to pick. Either my kid is going to suffer all the way, or or my pocket is going to suffer all the way.
And it doesn't matter. You're probably going to be outvoted anyways, because people are going to vote for that because they're going to feel it's in their best interest. Then they're going to turn around. They're going to vote for Democrats again that want to raise their taxes and give out more of these gimmies and freebies that are there. It's the frog in the pot. You're a frog in the pot and the water's boiling and you don't care.
And speaking about Democrats, I'm having a difficult time just in our local election that's coming up with some of the politicians or the candidates that are coming about. I thought that I had a solid Republican candidate that I would consider backing for town council until I found out that his fundraiser was another fundraiser for children. Project Play, I believe the name, was slated for the night of his fundraiser. He made them cancel, or his team made them cancel the Project Play fundraiser to have his fundraiser. Now you're a up and coming politician. You couldn't find nowhere else to have this fundraiser. No, and then you're gonna take it out of kids that get from this town that really need it for the summer. They all play the dirtiest games, and they come out like, oh, we're for the people, we're for you, we want to help you. How are you helping us? What are you doing? So it's like I'm back to the drawing board.
I think we're going to be watching. I think Sorrentino's a shoo-in. I think that because there's 4 people running and 2 slots, I really think that you're going to see Joan and Jean trying to duke it out with this one.
I don't know if Sorrentino's a shoo-in because Sorrentino's the one who did it. So I mean, you can't say you're for the people.
I understand what you're saying. That's your issue. I'm talking about townwide in general. He's very well known.
If you start talking to people, right? You can't portray one image. I mean, they should have learned this by now. Portray one image, especially to the minority community, and you're doing something else. That's not going to fly. And even at this point in time, people are finally getting it in their head that the diversity is not alluding just to your ethnic background. It's going to your economic status in the community. So people are finally getting it together to say, hey, it's not a black and white thing. It's not a male or female thing. It's a money thing. So when you get people whispering, I'm not so sure that Sorrentino is a shoo-in anymore, because if you're doing things like that already right out the gate, like you didn't have to do that. What else are you willing to do? And the Republicans are notorious for not caring for everyday common Joe folks.
Well, you also know that the Republicans are also notorious of running other people's campaigns the way that they always do. And they throw people in, they take very good people and start making decisions for them. And then those bad decisions reflect poorly on their candidates.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it really depends on who's running the campaign.
And I don't know
How much control they have over the money bag.
That's why I think this particular election is going to be more about factual information that gets out one way or the other. And I'm not so sure anyone is a shoo-in at this point. Gene has a lot of people angry with him because he promised he would never run again, and he's going back on his word. But then again, he also has people that vote for him and still
that are going to vote for him in spite of
and like him, myself included, because when we have issues here in Huntington Station, he is the first person to call. Now, let me just say this, and I've never mentioned this before. I never said anything. I had a big patch of street that was tore up. We had a bad winter. I called 3 town hall officials to find out who I needed to call to get this fixed. Not only did Gene call me back, he was the only one to call me back. And he had the director come here and I showed him the pictures. The director came. He does things that I don't like, but he's still very hands-on in the community.
Listen, you're not supposed to ever agree with anybody 100%.
So,
Ever.
I mean, he'll run on things. And Joan, she has ruffled a lot. She said a lot of things, especially within the African American community, that have had people looking like
this accessory apartment thing that she's trying to pass. This is the end for her. This is it. Like this was political suicide for her to even put this up. When people start to understand the accessory apartment law that she put up.
So tell us what it. Explain the accessory law apartment.
Was it last week we covered it and Dana wasn't here?
No, not probably 2 weeks ago then.
Was it 2 weeks ago? The accessory apartment thing, it had to do with legalizing the apartments, okay? But you would have, instead of requiring 75-foot frontage, you would require 50. Okay. And you could live in any part of your apartment that you want. So you could live in the basement and then rent out the whole top floor. But the thing is, what that does is not only allows higher density now in all of the neighborhoods, but all the off-street parking becomes a big issue, because now you're having more cars on a property. Instead of it requiring 75-foot frontage, now it's down to 50. And they're saying, oh, well, it's not that much. No, it's a third. It's a third. It's a lot. It's a tremendous amount. And she's put forth this accessory apartment, and I was shocked that Chad, I believe, was the one who seconded it. So it's just mind-blowing to me that they would want to. We have a crisis with so many things related to overpopulation, and to make this type of thing, there's, oh, well, it's going to create affordable housing. You've been using the affordable housing thing as a lure for the longest time, and it's never about the affordable housing component.
It never even know what that means anymore. It just sounds good to them.
Right. It's
no idea what that means. It's pathetic.
I mean, affordable housing. Affordable to who?
What's affordable?
And if you're taking the median income of the surrounding areas, I guarantee you, when you give it to the average Joe, that's really not affordable. Because look at the town, look at the areas, look at our area in general, and look at the town surrounding us. Does it look like they need affordable housing?
Okay, so now imagine in your neighborhood, any house that doesn't have more than 75-foot frontage, okay, it has 50 now, can now rent out portions of their home. Tell me what's going to happen.
We have a
Think
lot of
about the
angry,
amount of cars that you have on your block right now that already have multiple cars that live there, because families don't just come with one car, that are already.
house right there.
So now imagine allowing a renting situation in the middle of all these suburbs. We already don't know who our neighbors are anymore. I mean, we're still kind of a pretty tight-knit community for the most part, but it's changed, and not necessarily for the best.
That's alarming. Again, I've had some very serious family issues in the past month or so. So I've been out of the loop. I knew a little bit about the accessory apartments, and I knew what you were saying, but I never thought of it like that. Because if you think about it, and by the end of this year, I'll have 2 more cars probably in my driveway because both my kids are getting cars this summer.
Mm-hmm.
But we've lived here. I mean, they lived here all their lives, and it's like, I wonder how, if my neighbor decided to rent out their house, how would the people find parking?
Right. We have 3 cars. I have my car. My husband has his car. And then he has his fancy little take it out on Sunday drive car. And of course, he's got big trucks, which he has to park in a yard, right? But over here in Huntington Station, you've got a lot of the illegal landscapers. And they park their trucks right on the side streets in Huntington Station. Now, but if my husband parks his truck, he's going to get a big fat ticket because the rules are different. Rules are different
because they know that he will pay his ticket.
Right. Right. They know where they can get the money from too.
Right. If you are not a documented employee, or you don't have certain papers, I can't get any revenue off of you. So no, I'm not going to go after you. I hope to catch you in the act, then I can go after you. But if I don't catch you in the act, there's nothing I could do. As opposed to John, who is, was I supposed to say his name?
It's all right.
Okay, because I'm usually good with that. That's how you know I got a lot going on. As opposed to him, like, they see his truck and they're like, cha-ching.
And I want you to know, we didn't say anything about why you weren't here. But if you want to tell people that you've had a lot going on, so when you're not here, we don't have to explain it further. You're getting a pass for a while. So if Dina doesn't show up, she's got a lot going on right now, and we're
I try my best to juggle my personal life and of course everything else. But I am a mom of 5. I do have 2 kids in college. I'm currently taking a master's program, and I have my parents. So when our little tight-knit family, which consists of, my parents, myself, the children's father, when something goes wrong or someone is ill, it turns the entire situation around, and everyone's life changed immediately.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with these things, you try to stay conscious of what is still going on, because you still have to carry on your life, but it's hard.
I have to tell you, when the camera's off, I'm a complete train wreck. It just, I do not have it together. I know everybody puts on a really good show on social media and stuff. I am willing to come here and tell you, I fall through each day. It's like, I always said that skiing is just controlled falling. That's my day. From I wake up and it's just to do this, okay, and this, and at the end of the day, I go to bed and I wake up the next day and I get to do it all again. It's crazy. I think everybody's got crazy stuff going on, but you've had some exceptional things going on, and you're getting a complete pass for a while. It's not the typical thing. I know you're grazing past it because we don't need to discuss everything that's going on in our personal lives here. But thank you for allowing me to say what the excuse was as to why you were here. Like, okay, good. We have a break. We could get past the break.
But I would have gone into further detail. But I learned a very valuable lesson announcing that I was running for town council. And I learned that people don't necessarily care about your situation. They just care how your situation will impact them.
Yep.
And there were a lot of nasty little things that, I did get a wind up from people who I considered at least at best an associate, that were just, I know you would never have the courage to say it to my face. And I'm this close to being ghetto and bringing it to, but I said, you know what, I'm learning as I go. And that was a real eye opener to me. So a word to the wise, if you want to see who your true supporters are and how people really think about you, announce that you are going to run for a public office. Say that someone who is not revered positively in all aspects of the town is going to be your campaign manager, and then say that you're going to have the town racist as your treasurer, and you'll see how many people really, what people really think about you. That's just the words to the wise. You will get a lot of feedback, a lot of interesting feedback, if you do that, and it will open your eyes.
And you also learn who your real friends are.
Exactly. And that to me was a big learning lesson. And I think people are starting to feel it now, because I'll get certain calls from certain people and I'll be like, I know what you said, so you can't be seriously thinking that I'm going to engage in anything with you.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you calling? Because I'm a stand-up person. Whatever I say, I keep the same energy everywhere. If I say it wherever, 9 times out of 10, I've already said it to you. So you know how I feel. I don't like the back and forth, but it's interesting. And it was a lesson learned. And just to be clear, I will, when I do run again, I will keep the same 2 women in the same position, and I'll run just like that.
Because those women stood by you
through the entire, and it's still there.
And you know that those women aren't anything that those people try to make them as.
Anything. So if my question was, do you think I would, if I thought somebody was a racist and they have to handle money going to a black woman, I would keep them? Do you think I would do that? Does that make sense? Like, you should know I have a little bit of brains. Maybe not a lot, because I got a lot going on, but I have some. Why wouldn't I use certain people that I know?
I think you learned more about them and a lot about yourself, but you learned more about the people that had, I call them my false circles. I've learned a lot about people over the last 2 years, quite honestly. I've learned that people who I used to hold in high regard, who I thought were just so smart, have turned out to be the people who fell for as much bullshit as they could. People who told me that they once admired me because I was so smart and I was so brave and I was so this, but the minute I did one thing that they disagreed with, they turned on me. And they now thought I was the one with falsehoods, even though they had always trusted my information. And I just want to say, I was right the whole time. I was right the whole time.
It's sad. It really is sad. And it's like, you don't have to agree with everything I say or like everything, but we should be able to agree to disagree openly. And you should never take something that you know about me, or you may think you know about me personally, and try to exploit it because I decided to do something that you weren't in favor of. Because, it just doesn't work like that. And people always talk. So my question is, if somebody felt comfortable enough to talk to you about me, I need to understand how come they felt that comfortable with you.
Come to you. Right. I know that. And then they act like we don't talk.
That's all I'm like.
Like they're gonna come. And this is what I love about living a life with integrity, with the people who really know me. When people come to them and tell them things about me, they don't believe them because they already know who I am.
Right.
And so I have an army of people who do know me and immediately stop those people in their tracks and say that's not who she is at all. And you get that by living a life of integrity and truthfulness and standing up for what you believe in. That's how you get that spot. I tell people they may not like what I stand for all the time, but you know exactly what I stand for. And so you know if somebody's going to come across and say, well, Jenny said this, she would never say something like that because it's not who she is. We already know who she is. I mean, we put ourselves out here every week. We're very, in a very vulnerable way that most people wouldn't be able to do. And we're often, when we meet people and they're saying, oh, we know you, we watch you, we're at a disadvantage because you get more from us and know us more than we know you, because we're very open with who we are.
And it's
So
very true. It's very true. And it's interesting when you go into a room and people say that, oh, I watched your show, or I heard what you had to say, and I like this point of view, but I didn't like that point of view. It's very interesting. And like you said, it does leave us at a disadvantage. And it does make people put, give preconceived notions of what they believe we are just because we have certain beliefs. So it's interesting. And what I liked, another lesson I learned was, even though you disagree politically, if someone is your friend, they still check on you. And I never really drop names or anything like that when it comes to who I talk to, whatever the case may be. I'm usually very evasive. But I'll tell you, the town, Nick Ciapetta always will be like, he knows the situation and will ask, how are things going? He will ask. So when they see me following certain people and supporting people that they may think, oh, well, politically they don't get along. Yeah, because it goes above and beyond. I will support that man probably to the day he dies, unless he does something really crazy, because he's a true blue person. We don't agree all the time, but like I said, he was one of the first people that were always always, how's things going? Do you need anything else? What else is going on? If you need anything, let me know. This man doesn't have to do that. So it taught me a lot, and some of it was painful, but it is
my
what it is.
best friend in 2008 hated Obama. She hated Obama. I loved him. I fell for all the hopey, changey, beautiful speeches. I loved him. I voted for him. I wanted the change because I was fed up with all these I didn't realize same shit, but whatever. I woke up later. We were still best friends.
Right.
Still best friends, okay? My other very, very good friend here locally, Christine, you know her. She's Democrat. She's not a fan of Trump. You know me, I love my Trump. We're still best friends because our relationship is not so unlayered and just singular layered that we would allow something like that to ever separate us. Your life has to be, if you truly love diversity, you're going to have people that you don't agree with in your life that you're
Exactly.
You truly value that, because diversity of thought is probably the most important value we have in this country.
And it's one of the hardest things to accept and work with.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean, if you want to keep it all the way 100, that is an accurate statement. And it's very unfortunate, but it's a lesson learned. I appreciate it. And, going forward, you don't harp on it, because, today's a new day. And, like I said, you still have other things going on, but you never forget it either. You just keep it in a little place in the back of your head, and it goes, oh, okay, I know I got to remember that.
And that there was a lesson that was learned. That was the most important thing to take away from it.
It was.
Thank you.
And I learned it. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I know that Lisa and Jenny are always covering me. And,
we did bring you up though when we were on air, where I was like, Lisa, now you know why it's easier with 3, because when I got a screen share, which if anybody has ever done, there's a couple of other people that are doing coast to coast with us, my friend Mary, and it's not easy once you're in the control room trying to figure it out, and they're learning, like, even just to log on is a challenge. Just to put your face here and express your opinion in today's climate is hard for some people. Yeah, we had this one woman in California who was going to be on Coast to Coast with us, and then she backed out at the last minute. She's like, I don't want my husband to get fired. And of course, the first thing I'm thinking is, we only have 48 subscribers. Like, it's okay. Like, he's really probably not going to get fired. Nobody probably is even going to know about the show but us. Like, we have a very small pond of people, but I always respect the pond. I always, every single person who's subscribed to our channel, every view, we have value and we're grateful for and we appreciate. So on that note, you know what it is?
We hope
always
you
goes
have
by
enjoyed our Huntington View.
You always know when I get there that it's time for the closer. So we hope everyone enjoyed tonight's Huntington View. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, guys.